In 2025, people who are job seekers, who are looking for a brand new job, cannot get interviews because there's just too many hoops to jump through. There's too many obstacles to overcome. But in fairness, not only can they not get job interviews, they can't even get called back, messaged back about the jobs that they're applying to. Because it starts off with applying to a job. If you go through in 2025 and just quick apply to as many jobs as you can, and just basically sending over your resume without filling out anything else, maybe one or two small little questions, maybe about years of experience, you'll probably never hear back. And if you do, it's going to be months later from a generic automated response email. It's a best case scenario, really, if you do get any kind of response back within the couple of weeks of applying to a quick apply email, or really any job these days. Then from there, maybe you do get a call. Maybe you do get reached out to. But most likely, lately at least, you're going to talk to a virtual recruiter. And they're going to record your answers. They're going to record your screen. And you're not going to talk to a real person. You're going to talk to some kind of automated technology. Or maybe, instead of that, you'll have the opportunity to do a one-way interview, which is completely demoralizing and degrading because they're going to just post an answer on screen and then you just have to answer it, talking to a camera just like this. Now, I have years and years of experience of looking right at the camera, talking right to basically just myself, to an audience, hopefully out there. But that's not something majority of people have experience in. That's not something that the majority of job seekers are comfortable with. Because they want to take away the remote work. They want to take away the flexibility. They want you to be in office really 5 days a week, if not 6. And they want you to prove that you really want your job because to them, they're happy to just export and offshore your job to Mexico, to the Philippines, to India. So they're going to have you come into the office as much as they can humanly make you do. So why are we doing all this automated process at the beginning? Why is technology such a big part of getting weeded out of the job? Because you go through all that. You take your assessments, which I don't even want to talk about right now. You do your either one-way interview or your virtual recruiter interview. And does that even get you anywhere? No. Maybe if by some chance and happenstance, you're able to pass the other filter, which is the applicant tracking system, which means that you meet all the buzzwords, all the keywords, the exact years of experience. Not too little or you're not qualified for the job. Not too much or you're overqualified for the job. And they are going to not hire you because they think that you're going to leave as soon as you get a brand new job. Which you might do, but in 2025, or these days, it might take you a couple of years to get a second job offer. It's not like you're going to leave in 2 weeks because it's an employee's market and you can work wherever. Those days are not here anymore. So you get through all of that and maybe you talk to a recruiter, a talent acquisition specialist, and maybe they know some stuff about the role, but probably not. But even when you talk to them, they're not always aligned with the hiring manager. They don't always know all the ins and outs of the organization or really all the ins and outs of the job that they're looking to hire for. And I put that in quotes because Lord knows just because jobs are posted does not mean that they actually hire someone for that. No, because they keep putting up the jobs, having hundreds and hundreds of people apply, taking down the jobs, making maybe a tweak, maybe not making any tweaks at all, reposting again, over and over again for months and months and months until eventually they just take the post down, acted like it never even happened, like they never even had a request or an opening for a brand new position. But if you are able to get through all that and maybe actually talk to a real hiring manager, they're gonna grill you, they're gonna ask you all kinds of questions. And even a good fit, even leaving that interview with a good feeling like, hey, I had a good rapport, I felt like we got along, answered the questions great, we vibed, we made a genuine connection, they might still give you more assessments, more work. And this time it's multiple hour assessments. This time it's preparing a presentation for a vice president. This time it's doing actual coding of real life issues that they're going to use, whether they hire you or not, that you're going to see up on their websites, up on their official applications. They're going to use all of this free labor for their organization, and all you're going to have is hurt feelings and a lot of hours wasted. But let's dive into some real examples of just all the hoops, all the barriers that you have to go through between seeing a job that you want to work for and actually landing said job. We start with Cassie, who says, I received an email from a company I applied to 2 weeks ago asking me to complete a 2 to 3 hour data analysis, which they will then send to the hiring manager to see if they want to move forward in the process. I haven't even talked to anyone at the company yet. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a good take-home project. Truly, it allows me to keep my skills fresh and pushes me to get creative on how I approach wrangling a random data set and presenting conclusions around arbitrary business goals. So in Cass's example here, they want a 2 to 3 hour data analysis, take-home work. All of this about business goals, how you're going to meet them, how you're going to overcome objections, and how you're going to overcome roadblocks and deal with random data, all this kind of stuff. 2 to 3 hours of most likely work before she even gets to a hiring manager. So this is probably, she talked to a recruiter, the talent acquisition specialist, and she's having to do take-home work before even talking to the HR person, before even talking to the hiring manager, before even knowing if you even want to work for that person, before you even know if you want to work on that team, before you even get to talk to one true person in that organization, in the department in which you're going to be working. They want to have 2 to 3 hours worth of data analysis done. I mean, that is absolutely insane, but people are doing it because people are so desperate for jobs. Cassie continues, but this is simply too much. I don't even know if I want to work there. Do I vibe with the hiring manager? Are they working on projects that interest me? Will the team push me to be a better analyst? Are there growth opportunities within the company? I responded saying that I will respectfully decline the assignment and wish them the best of luck on their search. While it feels blasphemous in this job market, at some point, you just gotta say no to jumping through unnecessary hoops. I know my worth and that my time is valuable. So instead, I will be spending my time prepping for interviews with companies that have already invested their time in me. And yes, it might be a bad idea to turn down a job offer until you start at least one company that has offered you a job. It might be a bad idea to say, oh, I don't want to do a little assignment that might take 10 minutes, or I'm not going to fill out workday applications. I'm not going to do simple things that might take 5 to 10 minutes. But if we're talking about a multiple hour analysis to be done before we even talk to the hiring manager, that's ridiculous. I don't think you should have to do these kind of things anyways, but if you do have to go through this amount of work, at least talk to a hiring manager and maybe 1 or 2 other people at the organization. Maybe as a final step, just if it's between like you and maybe 1 or 2 other people, to maybe separate the wheat from the chaff, I guess, as they say. But to do this before you even talk to the hiring manager is absolutely insane, because like Cassie said, you don't know if you want to work at the organization. You don't know if you're going to get along with the hiring manager. Say everything is on the up and up. You do the data analysis. They're not actually going to use it. It's just a standard test that they do to see if you really know what you're talking about, if you can really deliver the goodies. And then you get to the hiring manager and you don't vibe at all. Like this, there's no way you could work for this person. There's no way you could feel good about going into this organization. Maybe you haven't even talked about salary yet. You don't even know if you could survive on this income. There's too many questions that you need to ask. There's too much value out of talking to at least the hiring manager, who is the person you're going to be reporting to, the person you're going to be dealing with the most at the organization, who's responsible for your career growth. And you might not have any career growth, but at least hopefully have some kind of say in whether you get fired or not. The person who could put you on a performance improvement plan, the person who's going to do your year-end reviews. You have to be able to talk to this person before you do too much work. And as she said, unnecessary work for a brand new position. Next, Lauren says, I was laid off about 2.5 months ago. I fortunately made it to the final round of the interview for my 5th job opportunity 2 weeks ago. Likewise, I received my 5th final round rejection today for that job. It amounts to the same message every time. You were impressive, just not impressive enough. I know I'm impressive. I know how hard of a worker and diligent and organized and capable I am. I've been a working professional for 15 years. I have 2 degrees. Every manager I've worked under would happily recommend me, and many are standing by to do so. I am told to keep my head up, that making it to these final rounds is a great sign, which I get, but I also need to make it across the finish line to an offer. Continuing to be impressive with no job offer doesn't pay bills. Any advice for folks slogging through this situation? The constant rejection after getting to the end of a process only to walk away with nothing yet again is truly taking a toll on me mentally. I'm not looking at all of Lauren's credentials and history. I can just see that she's open to work and she's worked in training, learning something. But that's pretty impressive to me, to be laid off 2.5 months ago and to make it to the final round on the 5th job opportunity, because people have been searching for well over 6 months and haven't gotten to the final round of 5 job opportunities. So I don't know if it's where she works. I don't know if there's a certain specialty, which is kind of surprising to me, because all I hear about and all I see about is how organizations are no longer training. They're no longer caring if you get up to speed. Maybe it's regulation training, maybe it's sexual harassment, or how to properly navigate the workspace, or maybe it's just something that they have to train on for a legal purpose, because I can't imagine it's beneficial training to make you better at your job. It's probably just insurance related or workplace behavior related training. So that's pretty good though, to be at the 5th job opportunity final round in just 2.5 months. So she's doing some good things. She's obviously impressive, which she doesn't want to hear. But yeah, I mean, you're going to hear either from the hiring manager or most likely the recruiter or talent acquisition if you make it that far, or probably you're not going to make it that far and you're just going to get an automated email that's going to say, yes, although your background was impressive. It's like, your background being impressive, you being a good candidate, at this point, they're just platitudes. I mean, these are compliments that have been used over and over again until they completely lost their meaning. Don't tell me I made it all the way through this and told me all this interview and I'm at the final rounds and it's between me and 1 or 2 other people, and tell me, oh, but your background was impressive. No, I don't want to hear that, because especially at that point, okay, we know my background had to be some kind of impressive if I actually got to the beginning of the interview process and I talked to whoever I had to talk to. I did whatever kind of job interview I had to do. I did whatever kind of assessment or take-home exam, whatever. It's more than just my background was impressive. I mean, if you're going to tell me, just don't tell me anything else. Because if you're going to tell me something that I can actually use. To get to the final round 5 times in 2.5 months and not get an offer, hearing your background is impressive is not going to do you any good. Maybe a tip's like, hey, we were a little bit concerned about your history and one-on-one training, or we're a little bit concerned in your knowledge of workers' comp information. Something that's actually useful that I don't think should wind up getting you sued. I mean, don't tell them they're ugly or they're lazy or, something that is an insult. Tell them, man, everything was good. It's just we needed a little bit more of this experience. If you're going to say anything, at least do something that is actually going to be valuable. Not just tell someone after all those rounds of interviews that your background is impressive. Come on. And then Ned says, the job market is insane. This posting for a marketing director has been up for a week and already has over 3,000 applicants. Okay, I admit it. A marketing director is a pretty general job title. I've known a lot of marketing directors in my career, but honestly, 3,000 applicants for a single job. Getting a job feels like winning the lottery. #job hunting. And then he shows a screenshot, and with LinkedIn Premium, apparently he can see how many applicants there actually were for the job, which 3,000 37 applicants for a marketing director United States, which should tell us that it's probably a remote job. So remote jobs are going to be very, very lucrative, and basically everyone's applying to jobs that are remote. And a lot of people online are talking about how getting a job feels like winning the lottery. You might not make a full-time livable wage earning on a lottery scratch off that you actually win. Maybe you'll get a free ticket, maybe you'll get $5, $20, but probably the odds of winning something in the lottery or a scratch off or some kind of lottery ticket has got to be better than winning winning a brand new job. So I don't even know if it's as hard to win something on the lottery than landing any kind of job, nonetheless gainful employment. But that is a little sneak peek behind the data that you can see on LinkedIn Premium, and the fact that, yes, we're all talking about more than 100 applicants have viewed or applied to this job, which we could see as just basic LinkedIn users. But if you get the LinkedIn Premium, then you can actually see that the actual number of people. And you can see for a remote job, for a marketing director, 3,000 people applied to that job. So it's really not worth your time to do any quick applies. It's really not worth your time to apply to remote jobs unless you absolutely cannot go into the office, like you are stuck. There's no organizations within driving distance of you. Like, it has to be a really rare scenario. And this is not just a basic customer service. This is a marketing director. So you wouldn't think there'd be 3,000 applications on one organization's marketing director, but between job seekers now using artificial intelligence to quickly apply to anything that's a good fit, and the fact that you're competing with people from all over the country, not just your specific state or city. 3,000 applicants for a single job, and only a fraction of them are going to get the wonderful opportunity to be able to jump through all the crazy hoops, do hours of free unpaid work just to get rejected in the final round of the interview. But hey, at least they're going to be told that their background was impressive. But let me know what you think of these stories down in the comments below. And if you have some extra time, YouTube thinks you'll get a lot of value out of the video on screen now. And until next time, remember, times are tough, but so are you. Talk to you later.